So if you're like me, you probably jumped into Fusion recently after an update and noticed this new window that pops up, and you might be wondering where to start. Today I'll help you navigate this change to jump right into your design, briefly go over what these different changes mean, and give you some tips on how to utilize these new options with going into your future designs. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. If you've been using Fusion previous to January 2026 and you just want to continue using it the way you always have been, where you're following tutorials online based on the old version of Fusion, all you need to know is hybrid design has always been the default. Selecting this option will allow you to simply jump back into Fusion and keep using it as normal, no sweat. So if that's all you came here for, feel free to default to this and expand on the new capabilities in the future. But if you want a little more detail, here's a quick rundown of the new changes with this new menu. So I'll state that historically, hybrid design has been a love-hate feature all users have been accustomed to in Fusion. It's a quick and easy way for hobbyists to jump straight into a design and be able to bounce back and forth from either creating a single component to assemble later using bottom-up design, or just building an assembly piece by piece all in one place using top-down design methodology. For some, it's a great feature and one I really haven't minded much since it allows you the flexibility to get started with an idea and utilize existing references to snap together a design quickly without managing data in multiple locations and having to force links across documents. Another major thing people pointed out is that this makes it easy for people on the personal use license to manage their 10 file limit, since Fusion treats a hybrid design as a single file, even if you have multiple components nested inside of that design. And you can still easily export and use single components for 3D prints or single part fabrication, which is a huge win. On the downside, however, this tends to really stress the software when you start getting into higher level assemblies or creating too many direct references in your different component designs. So at scale, this can have negative impacts to the performance of the design, which has organically forced heavy-duty users to approach a component and assembly methodology anyways to help break out smaller links for more efficient overall integration of your ideas. Another thing, this methodology always forces what Fusion refers to as rule number one when creating a new hybrid design, which is to start a new component and design inside of that. For many, this is cumbersome and unintuitive, especially coming from other CAD packages, mainly because if you forget this step, you essentially turn your whole design into a single component that you can tweak afterwards, but it isn't very clean in my opinion. Part and assembly designs are the new updates, and Fusion did this for a couple of key reasons. For one, it's to maintain similarity to how the majority of other CAD platforms manage full-up designs. For example, with my background using SolidWorks, or for my everyday work in spacecraft level design using Creo Parametric, the default approach is to design single independent piece parts and then link them all together in an assembly. So if you know you are going into a design and only want to make a single piece, the part design is 100% okay. This gives you all of your tools on the toolbar to make changes to your standard component design without any issues. If you change your mind, however, you can always click on the document settings and switch to a different design type as well. For assemblies, this is also fine, and what's nice is that if you start an assembly and decide it's not really the approach you want to take, you can click on document settings here and switch over to a hybrid design or even a part design as well. One more interesting thing about an assembly is that you can still create components internally as well. Say you've been assembling your parts together and notice you need to make a part with direct referencing. You can click the new component icon and design it on the spot, which is really nice. This gives you a middle of the road option where you can have external parts that can be reused outside of this assembly, but also add them in wherever needed as well. So speaking of different ways of how you design things, I wanted to touch on an app called Brilliant that I've been using for a long time to stay sharp on a lot of the engineering principles that I tend to refer to a lot when I'm designing my own things. So if you haven't heard of it yet, Brilliant is an app that helps you excel in things like math, science, and coding with step-by-step lessons and personalized practice that really emphasizes learning through doing, which is my preferred way of trying to grasp new concepts or old concepts that I really want to deepen my understanding in. The courses are great and they're structured by teachers from many different places like MIT, Harvard, and Stanford that are truly designed for anyone, whether you're 10 years old or 110 years old, and they're all focused on solving actual problems and not just watching videos to memorize content. I find that I spend a lot of my time going through their scientific thinking courses that dive into things like gear drives, statics, force interactions, and other modules that I find are key for a lot of the mechanical projects that I'm working on at home and in my professional daily life. So if you're interested in learning for free for 30 days, go to brilliant.org/TyWritings, scan the QR code that I have floating here on the screen, or click on the link that I'll have pasted down in the description. Brilliant has also kindly given my viewers an additional 20% off for their annual premium subscription, which gives you unlimited daily access to everything in Brilliant. And now let's dive into which direction you should go when you're starting to use this new Fusion interface. Now, for anyone still on the fence about which route to go, here are some of my tips on how to decide. Number one, the most important thing is always start from how you want to structure your files. My recommendation is to always set up a project folder and save your files there, no matter what you choose. The reason I say this is that this tends to be the thing that actually trips people up, is where to start dumping their ideas and not losing track of what you make, no matter what design type you choose. From there, if you're used to the normal Fusion layout, I'd stick with hybrid designs for now to continue working on projects the way you always have been. If you're on the personal use license and worried about file limits, this is also a good option to not have to manage many different editable documents as you go. However, I can't stress enough to remember rule number one when starting your hybrid design, which is to always start a new component in your design. That way you are set up for success with either having a component to use or starting your assembly properly on the right foot. Another special note for those of you who tuned into my Gridfinity add-in videos, the hybrid design is the option you have to use in order to get the Gridfinity extension to work currently, since it plops in the different Gridfinity parts as new individual components. If you are coming from a different CAD program like SolidWorks or Inventor or other industry standard packages, you can definitely start with using parts and assemblies to make your designs. Simply jump into a part design, save it to your dedicated project folder, then start adding it to a parallel assembly using joints and constraints to see your assembly come to life. For assembly designs, if you know this assembly is going to be rather large and will be a mix of components that are already designed, or you intend to design single pieces for full integration and that's a workflow you prefer, this is also a good route for that mentality that, again, can be changed. This route enables your components to be reused or worked on independent to the assembly, and your assembly timeline becomes solely dedicated to links and relationships instead of all the additional feature data from your individual parts. And if you're like me and you don't like swapping back and forth between windows, you can make modifications to your part while you're in the assembly. It's just another feature that they added in that allows for some flexibility. I think what Autodesk wanted to emphasize with this release is that they are trying to meet the needs of a wider variety of users and also give you the flexibility to swap your model's intent so you never feel like you are boxed into an upstream decision if things change down the line. If you want a little more information, I'll have some other helpful guides on this topic linked in the description. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope that those tips can help you overcome this new change to the Fusion user interface and maybe give you some methods that you can use to approach your designs differently moving forward. If you want to check out some more CAD related content that I have, I'll float some more videos here on the screen that maybe you could dive into. Either way, I'll catch you on the next episode, and thank you so much for tuning in.